Hey, what's up, everyone? Today we're going to talk about what is marital property in an Illinois divorce. This really falls in the basket of Divorce 101 because it is so fundamental to understanding what your rights are in regards to splitting the property and debts in a divorce. So that's what we're going to break down in easy to understand terms right now. My name is Bobby Buchanan. I'm a practicing Illinois divorce lawyer, and this is Illinois Divorce TV. So let's dive in. So there are two types of property in Illinois divorce. There is non-marital property and marital property. Marital property is going to be everything that is acquired during the marriage for the most part. There are exceptions that become non-marital property, but for the most part, everything that's acquired during the marriage or rights that are acquired during the marriage are considered marital property. Your most common things that are acquired during the marriage that will be marital property are assets. So if you acquire a house, for example, during the marriage and you use marital funds to do that, that is considered marital property. It doesn't matter if just your name or just your spouse's name is on the house. 99% of the time, if a house was purchased during the marriage, regardless of whose name is on it, it's marital property, and it doesn't matter whose name is on it to determine what share of it is spouse one and spouse two's share, or how the equity might be split. The court is not going to say, oh, well, spouse one, your name is on the property, so you're going to get a larger percentage of the equity. It doesn't work like that. If it's acquired during the marriage, it's marital property and it's subject to division. The next big category of marital property is income earned during the marriage. Any income that is earned during the marriage is considered marital property. It does not matter if you are putting that income into a bank account that just has your name on it, or if your spouse is putting in a bank account just with their name on it. That income is marital property. Debts. Debts are marital property. So any debts that are accrued during the marriage are considered marital property and are subject to the same division rules as assets and income that are acquired. And then the last big category is going to be appreciation of assets. So if you have a marital asset and it increases in value, then that increase in value is considered marital property. So as you can see, the basket of marital property is pretty large, and it's all encompassing, or almost all encompassing, as far as property that's acquired during the marriage, except let's talk about property that is acquired during the marriage but is not subject to those marital property division rules. The first big one is inheritance or gifts. If you inherit money, let's say from your parent passes away during the marriage and their will says that they're going to give you $1 million and it's going directly to you, and that's what the will says, and then you take that money and you put it into your own bank account, that is considered non-marital property, and it is not going to be subject to the same division rules. It's not going to be subject to division at all in the divorce process. The next big one is going to be property that's acquired using non-marital property. So let's say you had $1 million in the bank before the marriage, and then you purchase a piece of property with it and just put your name on it. That's considered non-marital property. Other types of non-marital property is property that's just got your name on it that you have before the marriage. So just getting married does not turn that property into marital property. So that's the general gist of what marital property is and isn't. Now let's talk briefly about dividing the marital property. Illinois is an equitable division state, which means that property will be divided fairly. Not evenly, but fairly. Is there a difference? Yeah, there is a difference sometimes, but generally speaking, judges do default to 50-50 being fair. The other thing to understand is that fair isn't necessarily what you think is fair, and what the law says is fair is probably not the same. The most common circumstances where people feel like they're getting the short end of the stick is, for example, the breadwinner who's contributed all the mortgage payments, who's worked throughout the marriage, and maybe the house was purchased and it just has their name on it. They may believe that they're entitled to a larger portion of the equity of the house. They're not. The case law is clear that the contributions of the homemaker are just as valid towards the value of that house as the contributions of the breadwinner. So what you think is fair is not exactly the same as what the law says is fair. Circling back on one issue that I don't think I touched on when I talked about marital property, just popped in my head, and that is retirement accounts. Retirement accounts are a big one that are considered marital property. And even rights to a pension or a retirement account, even if it's unvested, is marital property. So when it comes time to divorce, there may be the potential to get retirement funds, and that potential can be divided. The final category of property that can go either way is personal injury lawsuits or settlements or awards from personal injury lawsuits. That can go either way depending on the nature of the award. That's something you should talk specifically about with your divorce attorney. The marital property, non-marital property issues can get fairly complex, even though it seems fairly basic on the surface. That is today's Divorce 101 video on marital property. If you found this useful, if you found this helpful, please subscribe, please follow, hit the comments below, leave a question, leave a comment, let us know what you want to hear another video on, and we're here to help you as much as possible. Have a great day.